Brian Chambers has left CIG. For those of you who don't know, Brian Chambers is the VP of development for Squadron 42, I believe. He was in the Foundry 42 office, which was a big studio that was started off of from a lot of the folks who came from Crytek, actually. For those who don't know, CIG is actually made up by several pretty key Crytek developers, including Brian Chambers, John Tracy, and several others from the past. They helped develop the CryEngine. They came over to CIG to help develop the Star Engine based off the CryEngine as they built over the years. And it's been 13 years, 12 years since they started doing that. They had a few different companies that opened, but the main one for the engine development was in Frankfurt, where the CryEngine team was. And this is where Brian Chambers was. As you can see here, they mentioned it's a heavily refactored version of CryEngine 3 from Crytek, used since the first engine video. While they did move to Amazon Lumberyard in terms of licensing and stuff, the amount of times that comes up that it's not the CryEngine, it's the Lumberyard engine, it doesn't matter. Lumberyard engine is just a fork of CryEngine at the same time that Star Engine was a fork. At the base of it, it is Crytek. And Brian Chambers was a very key part of bringing the know-how and the knowledge that helped them turn Star Engine into what it is because of that Crytek information. He actually started the Foundry 42 office with 7 other people in 2015. He focused on building up the team in conjunction when working with Aaron Roberts on global development, and around mid-2019, with the arrival of a studio manager as part of the restructuring of the company due to growth, he was able to focus more on development and became vice president of development. This around 2019, this is not a coincidence. It is very close to that same time period that I was pointing out before, where funding took a step up. The private investment in 2018, the launch of 3.0 at that time, and the arrival of a new art director for Squadron 42, I think was all part of this restructuring. And so at that time, Brian took a very big part in helping to run Squadron 42. He was more dedicated to focusing on it and getting it released, along with Rich Tyrer, along with some of the other big names at the company at the time. He left and put out this tweet just yesterday. Here is what he said. After 11 amazing years at CIG, it's time for me to step aside and watch from the sidelines. From starting a new studio in Frankfurt to helping run a dev team of 800 plus across 5 separate time zones, it's been both challenging and incredibly rewarding. Time for an overdue break, then I'll determine what's next. Let me know if anyone has any cool projects they want to help with, a new studio they want to start, or ... Or Star Citizen. Is he saying, or maybe Star Citizen? Dude, we got this cool game Star Citizen you can come and help with. Really could use your expertise. So, Brian Chambers has departed. What kind of stuff was he doing? Here is an update from him back in the day as he was getting more and more involved in delivering the news. This is 2018, so right before he really got stuck in at Squadron. But you can still tell just from this that he was very much a key part of this studio. He helped start it, and he was focused on getting the information out when the updates came around. For those of you who weren't around during this time, this is the old version of Star Citizen, Inside Star Citizen. Used to be 40 minutes long, just about, because they would do a big studio update every time. Eat it in.
Hello everyone,
Eat it in.
My name is Brian Chambers, Development Director of Foundry 42 Frankfurt office. Since our last studio update, team's grown by a few people, putting us currently at 79 people strong. The end of last year was a big coordinated global effort to get 3.0 out to everyone, as well as wrapping up bits for the end of the year Squadron 42 vertical slice playthrough. The team then took a couple weeks off for the holidays, and everyone came back recharged and ready to focus on their next tasks. Once back, the first of the year involved a large amount of scheduling and planning across most all disciplines, laying out the plans to distribute work amongst the various offices in the most efficient way possible. Since January was a lighter than usual month in regards to work time due to the holidays, this update will include some items from the previous update, but with a bit more detail and visuals to accompany them. So let's first check in with the VFX team. The most recent work for the DE VFX team was focused on S42 vertical slice. They contributed to the coil volumetric cloud, adding exterior effects to the slaver base on Gainey, and specific bespoke effects for the cinematic sequences. The Slaver base's exterior was dressed in suitable effects for the dusty planet surface and low technological style, and the cinematic effects were bespoke for the various cutaways in the vertical slice. The work on the coil gas cloud tech went through a good amount of R&D with the team. They were focused on developing new methods to create an interior volume while keeping in line with the defined and approved concepts and art direction. The process they used for the coil involves software called Houdini, which is not natively supported in Lumberyard, so a portion of their time was spent on developing, optimizing, and integrating that to the new pipeline. The entire process went through numerous iterations, and for the final look, they paid really close attention on how the interior created interesting compositions and visuals for the players while flying. The past couple of months have been very productive for the AI team, with a split focus on both Squadron 42 and the Star Citizen PU. During the Squadron 42 holiday live stream, we were able to show a first version of the human combat on foot. To prep for this, the team spent some time refactoring all the cover movement transitions inside the movement system. The system now includes an improved path analysis by the AI so that NPCs will know more in advance which type of animation should be played, enabling us to better smooth the transitions from locomotion to special transition animations if and when needed. Ship AI was also given some attention during the past month. During the S-42 reveal, we were able to show our first version of the updated spaceship.
Just so you know, let me show you what this planet looks like now in the game. I think it's really easy to miss what that is because it changed so much in between that time. But I just want to give you a quick look at how much the game changed. So this is Gainey that we're seeing in this video,
was
right?
also given some attention during the past month.
It's just too loud, guys. I'm sorry.
During the S-42
So this is Gainey. It's got the stuff in the orbit. It's looking pretty bad underneath, all that jazz, right? Here is the new version of Gainey.
Ultimately, this is the final phase of gameplay iteration before we fully transition into optimization and
look like this
on the road to release.
Now it looks like this.
It's cold. Come back.
It's crazy. They went insane when they did their whole restructuring around 2018, 2019. The art just changed so much. But that is the gist of kind of what he was doing at that time. Obviously, he, just like so many of the other people who are actually leading these studios, were off the camera a lot more over this last half decade, as they've been getting a lot more focused on actually making these things happen. And we see them on camera less and less. Now, something that Brian also had mentioned earlier this year that I don't want to spend too much time really focusing on because I don't think it's all that important, was that he lost his brother earlier this year. So my man's been going through some stuff, and he's been working at this company for like 11 years. And I don't know, you can look at this two different ways. Either you are very excited for Star Citizen and you think that this means he has finished his work, he's all done, he's turning in, he's like, the game's going to come out in a few months, I've done what I need to do, I will watch how it goes, and I'll keep, you can obviously keep coming into the office and all that kind of stuff, but I want to take a break. I am done with this game, and I'm not coming back after Squadron releases. So you could look at it that way. Or the other side of things, if you find yourself on another subreddit, or maybe you just different circles, this could also be Brian saying, hey, we've busted our butts on this game for as long as possible at this point. I thought it was coming out this year. We just had a go, no-go meeting. They said it's not. That's it, I'm done. And he stepped away and just doesn't, like, he is having family problems. He's got his own life. He's got things to do. And so maybe he's doing that. I don't think it's worth speculating on too much. Everybody's going to come to their own conclusions, but it's news to know. I think it falls in line with a lot of the other things that we're seeing happening, from the financial situation I mentioned to the way that they're improving their marketing, to the fact that they're starting to show up at more of these public locations. They're updating the Squadron 42 website. The buybacks thing is happening. They haven't publicly delayed the game yet. There's a lot of different signs that the game is coming along, and as higher up people start to sit back, kick up their feet, maybe that's another sign. Either way, this is just a little news update, a look into who Brian is. I just want to take a moment to say a big thank you to this man for doing what he did, for starting the studio, for helping to run the studio even during tragedy in his own family, and I'm sure during plenty of other things that happened throughout the last decade. And I appreciate him. Shout out to you, Brian Chambers. Thank you for your work. I hope you enjoy whatever it is you do next. We will be looking with much interest. Have a good one in space, dude. In space? In the stars? In the verse? I don't know. Is there like something you're supposed to say with people when they're done with Star Citizen? See you soon, TM, brother.